I'm John Graignam, and this is the latest installment in my series of talks about johngraignam.com, Irish ancestors. Today, I'm going to be talking about a recent addition to the site, a new map feature, which shows the parish locations of all Catholic parish marriages for a particular surname. So let's go straight to the site, and I'll show you how it works. Okay, here we are at the site, and as with all the other map functions, it all starts off with the surname. The aim is to get you to get users to put a surname in here, and then enmesh them in this this series of rabbit holes that they can go down forever and ever. All right, so Bolger is the surname I've picked again. As you can see, it's classic Wexford, South Wicklow, Carlow, Kilkenny, that sort of area. Very heavily concentrated there. The maps, okay, there are now, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 maps. That's the maximum. So there is only a map if there are records for the surname that I can show you. So, and as you can see from the list of them, the new one is the Roman Catholic marriages. So let's click on that and show you what happens. Okay, it brings up a different map showing the parishes and the number of marriages in each of the parishes. You can zoom in very easily. So there we have all the parishes, and if you click on the marker, so for example, Ferns parish in Wicklow. So Ferns, classic Wexford parish and diocese, and it says there are 41 Bolger marriages in Ferns Catholic parish. These are in the records up to 1880, which are the ones transcribed by Find My Past and available on their site, and that's where the listing comes from. And they took them from the National Library microfilms, which are available on the registers.nli.ie, the National Library Parish Register site. This works slightly differently to the Catholic baptisms map. If you click on the marker, it will take you directly to the listings. Whereas in the baptisms, you go to the parish listing first, and then you can go to the listings. But I'll show you, let's just click on the Bolger marriages, and there we go straight to Find My Past. And you get a list of all the marriages. You can see it says 42, whereas my listing said 41. This is not a mistake. It's a different way of handling the marriages. In their case, they're counting both sides. So there is one marriage in here where there's only one person transcribed. They couldn't read the other surname, and I'll say something about that in a few minutes. So that it's a slightly different way of counting the marriages rather than a mistake. Anyway, you have the full listing here. You don't have to be a subscriber to Find My Past to get this far. If you don't have a subscription, you'll be asked to register, but you won't have to pay. And once you've registered, there are lots of parts of this site that you can use for free, including the parish marriage, the Catholic parish baptisms, marriages. There are lots of there. They don't go out of their way to tell you that it's free because they're trying to make money, but it is free. Anyway, once you have them in front of you, you can click on the transcript. So the 16th of August, 1842, Alice Bolger married Michael Kirwan, another great Wexford surname. And you can view the image by clicking there. Again, the image is taken from the National Library of Ireland microfilm. And when it comes up, you'll see that it's quite poor in some ways. There you are. It's scratchy. It's got lines on the microfilm. It's partly overexposed. Okay, so anyway, here's that's the main reason for the problems that there are with the transcriptions. I'll say some more about those problems in a few minutes. I should also say at this point, I should thank Find My Past for giving me access to these. It's enlightened self-interest. They get more traffic and so on. And if you do subscribe, I get a small consideration. So full disclosure. But anyway, here we are on Find My Past. This is the image from the National Library microfilm. This here is the marriage we were looking at, Michael Kirwan to Alice Bolger. And you can see there's more information in the original image than there is in the transcript. So you have a place name. So it's Michael Kerwin and Alice Bolger of Carrig, the townland of Carrig in the parish of Ferns. So always look at the original. That's the basic moral of the story. Okay. You can do that for any of the parishes there with the listings. So Graignam in Carlow, Boris and Carlow, and so on and so forth. And you can zoom in and out to your little heart's content. There's also a separate listing down here of the parishes with the numbers of marriages. And this is kind of, as I say, I've reversed the way it works on the baptisms. And the baptism one, if you click on the map, you're taken to the listing. And if you click on the list, you're taken to Find My Past. In this one, Find My Past goes from the map, and the listing goes to the list here goes to the my listing here. So let me show you what that means. Graignam, there are 20 marriages. If you click on it, you get a listing of everything I know about the Catholic records for Graignam. The year is covered. So the National Library ones are the imaged online and transcribed at Ancestry and Find My Past. And you can see the marriages start in 1818. They go up to 1868. There's a break over the Christmas period, 1868-69, and then they go on until 1880. So it's always a good idea to know exactly what years are being searched. So as you can see, Roth House, part of the Roots Island website, have transcripts that go up to 1901 and 1900. So again, and they have an earlier baptismal register as well, by the look of it. So that's the whole point of having these listings here, that you can see what's where, if there are extra years in one to another, and so on. Okay. One other thing that's kind of different about this map to the other ones, all of the other ones have this thing down here, a second surname. So in most cases, that's just statistical. You can find out parishes where there are baptisms for two distinct surnames. It's a way of narrowing down. If you know two surnames, but you're not sure of an exact location, it's a way of zeroing in statistically on the ones most likely to be relevant. The same for the births and the registration districts and the 1901, 1911, the district electoral divisions, the divisions used for to record them. This is slightly different. This is not just statistical. If you put in a second surname here, it will show you parishes where the two surnames married each other. So let's show you how it works. So Murphy, always Murphy, because if there's one Irish surname you can be sure of finding, it's a Murphy. So, and there you have Bolger and Murphy marriages in Catholic parishes. And you can see it's very heavily concentrated in the same areas. So let's just pick, say, that's Ballygarrett Parish. There are 5 Bolger to Murphy marriages in Ballygarrett Parish. Again, if you click on that, you're taken to the Find My Past results, and you have Bolger to Murphy. And just to demonstrate that I'm not making it up, anti-Bolger to John Murphy. There he is. Okay. And again, you have a listing, and the listing will take you to my. So let's see, Ballygarrett. There's Ballygarrett. Okay, no, in this case, it goes to the same result. Okay, click on the parish to follow up the Find My Past transcripts. All right. So far, so good. One of the things I thought I'd do in this talk, as well as just demonstrating the map, is talk to you a little bit about how the map is made. Okay. So in other words, go behind the scenes and look at the raw data and how it's treated and how it gets turned into a map. The first thing to say is that this all started, the whole mapping thing started way back in the mid-2000s, when I was the genealogist in residence for Dublin City Library and Archive. And this is one of the projects I was asked to work on. It was the Dublin Graveyards Directory. This was a publication put out by Dublin City Library and Archive in the 1990s, I think. and they went through a couple of editions, and they wanted to redo it, but as a digital version. So in order to do it, they asked me to do it, and I did this. So I mapped all of the graveyards in Dublin City. Does this look familiar? I wonder why. Okay, and you have a pop-up, you have a link to more information, and so on. In the course of doing this, the actual going through the process of tracking down all the graveyards that were in the original directory, and then some more as well, I worked out how to do it on a Google map, how to get the latitude and longitude and use those, put them in a database, and then retrieve them and put a marker on the place and put some text in the marker that had a link to something else. So that was it was actually quite fun. And I realized as well as being the genealogist in residence, I was also at that stage working with the Irish Times on an earlier version of this site. And I realized one of the things I already had was listings of civil parishes that I could go. There are something like 2,700 civil parishes in Ireland. Let me just demonstrate. Civil parish maps. So these are the civil parishes. So there's Fermanagh, for example, that I had listings of householders in each of the civil parishes of Ireland, and I could map these to Google. So like this, a contemporary Google map. So as part of the service on the Irish Times, I included a Google map as part of that. I then noticed a book called Irish Surnames by a man called Edward Neefsey, who mapped the 200 most common Irish surnames and using telephone directories, Northern Irish and Republic of Ireland telephone directories at a time when people only had landlines. And he did little dot matrix maps of where the surname was most common. And I thought it was very nice. And I wondered if I could do something like it. And then I realized I had the numbers of households, I had the latitude and longitude of the civil parishes, and all I had to do was put them together on a Google map. Okay, dynamically retrieve the numbers of surnames, the numbers of households rather, and the latitude and longitude of the civil parish. So I went about doing that. I mean, this was I discovered a thing called Google GeoCharts, which is one of the nicer backwaters of the Google ecosphere. It's non-commercial and very well documented, lots of nice examples that you can adapt and play with. And that's what I did. Basically took their sample code and messed with it until it started to do what I wanted. And that's where this comes from. Let's see, Hendry. This showing the numbers of households in each of the parishes of Ireland, civil parishes of Ireland, in Griffith's valuation. Okay, having done that, I then began to wonder if it was possible to do the same for other record categories. So births was the next. This was kind of different. This was using Google Maps rather than Google GeoCharts. It involved getting numbers. It involved doing getting new latitude and longitudes for the registration districts. So it was kind of a different process. The same banging my head off a computer monitor aspect of it, but slightly different. And again, teaching myself JavaScript programming. It's not rocket science. And again, there are lots of examples out there, and that's the way I learned to do it, was taking the examples and contorting them and mangling them and seeing what happened, and not being afraid to break Google. Thank you, Google. Okay, so and so on. I went through the various maps like that. So in this particular case, the Catholic marriages. Let's see where the Hendrys are in the Catholic marriages. You can see they're predominantly in what's now Northern Ireland. And as the surname dictionary says, rare, Ulster, Scottish, from the first name, Henry. So to in order to make this, well, one of the things I should say as well, you notice that this map is not a Google map, it's Map Tyler. As I've gone on through the maps, I've used more than Google. I now use Mapbox and Map Tyler, basically to spread the revenue and the joy around. And they are slightly different, but they all, they put their programming interfaces are different. In one case, it's a comma. In another case, it's a semicolon, and they never make it quite clear which is which. And so it's all a bit trial and error. But it's the same basic concepts involved in all cases. All right. In order to do this, I had to get, first of all, the information from Find My Past. And again, thanks to Brian Donovan, particularly in Find My Past, a friend from way back. He supplied the marriages in raw data form. Let me show you what that looks like. This is basically the table that they gave me. They gave me the year of the marriage, the parish name, the diocese name, the last name, and the spouse last name. Okay, so this is not, it's only a small subset of the information they have, but it's enough for me to do this. And you can see I've added various other columns to this. So surname ID, one of the things that has to be done is all of my surnames have a unique number, all of the surnames in my record. So I have to match all of the surnames there with the surname ID and with the spouse surname ID. I then have to, all of my parishes have a number, so I have to give a parish ID, find the parish ID. So that it's the first 90% of that is fine. I can just do an update query, and the last 10% takes forever because they have spelled the parish name slightly different to me, or they as you can see from the transcriptions here, question mark is not in my surname variant list. So, and there are lots of surnames that they've transcribed and they're mistranscribed. So Mihran, I don't think that's a surname. Eganta, I don't think that's a surname. Let me just sort this on last name and show you what happens. They, as I mentioned, when we were looking at the transcripts, there are lots and lots of problematic transcriptions because there are lots and lots of problematic images. Even so, this is, I wrote a blog post about this saying, this is, you don't want to see how heritage databases are made any more than you want to see how sausages are made. And this is the raw material. You can see there are lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of things that couldn't be transcribed. Okay, and if they can't be transcribed, they're not in my listings and they're not in their listings in effect. So there's a fair amount of data processing, of data cleanup, of data of contorting the raw material into a form that I can use. Once I have matching parish IDs for all the parishes, once I have matching surname IDs for all the surnames that are actually surnames, I can then do a query and look at, link the parish. So you have the parish ID there, it's the church ID, latitude and longitude, and the civil parish. So there's a simple mashing together of the numbers, a count of the numbers of records with a particular surname, with the name of the parish, the latitude and longitude, and that's then carefully confected into a URL that will take you back to the Find My Past originals. Maybe this is more than you wanted to know. I thought it might be interesting to have a little look under the bonnet, or under the hood, as you would say in North America, and see how the whole thing works. Anyway, I hope you find the marriage maps useful. At this point, I really enjoy making them, I have to say. So anyway, happy hunting and the best of luck.